So, hello everyone. I'm Mike Psaroudakis, owner of Creative People, a company active in the information and technology sector with offices in Greece and Great Britain. My team works 24/7 to monitor our customers' IT infrastructures while we systematically participate in IT research and development projects funded by the European Union. From those projects, we daily receive new know-how and add it to our experience. We maintain strict confidentiality with our customers, and we are in constant communication with them. We build networks and IT infrastructures for people, as we say. With detailed event and solutions provided record keeping, we gain speed in solving complicated IT problems. A little about me. I founded Creative People back in 2013, but prior to that, I lived the internet beginning in the 90s. I survived the millennium bug and the euro currency transition. And last but not least, on May 2018, I experienced the GDPR nightmare, reaching alive here today, not to talk about fancy technologies and how great ITs we are in Creative People, but to talk about business IT fundamentals and good practices that we often forget. So, too many things happen in our work environment. Fast-paced requests, deadlines, complicated relationships. What did he say? What did she do? GoAP seems to be a way out of this complicated business world we live in. There are people that choose gossip as a sentimental gateway and reaction after being pressed or feeling pressed. So you may hear someone say something about you that used to be personal and important. How do you feel? You're losing trust. Confidentiality is trust. In everyday life, the ability to keep a secret and maintain confidentiality not only make you a trusted friend, but also make you a valued employee or partner. Maintaining confidentiality in the workplace, not only casually, but legally as well, is of utmost importance for modern organizations today to ensure that their customers, clients, and employees can trust them. You like Lego? I love them. So let's use Lego to build our company's tower. In the bottom, I'll put information, or in IT terms, data. It doesn't matter where data resides. It can be cloud or on premises. Over that, we have security. On top of those, we put definition of access rights, data reliability, data protection. So we invest in security. We do invest in business development. We give everything we have on these business endeavors of ours, but suddenly, there's someone really close to us from our personnel talking about company's plans or issues with his family, or even worse, with his friends. There goes our investment. Someone close to us smashes our tower. In my brick construction, I have not put confidentiality. Where you put the confidentiality brick is a matter of perspective, company culture, and IT infrastructures. Now we'll go back in Seoul on GoAP's December 2019 annual conference. Yeah, there was a time that we traveled, and in Seoul, we talked about GDPR. I promise I won't do it again. We then mentioned that on our fight against the personal data loss or leak, we need to follow 4 basic principles. The first was to start with our personnel. Guess what? Dealing with personnel applies as well in confidentiality. So, how should we put down a confidentiality agreement with our employees? What to take, what to give. I'm not a lawyer, I'm an IT, but I will pinpoint some key elements that your lawyers may have not taken into consideration when you put down confidentiality agreements inside your organization. The status quo has changed a lot the past few years. New laws in the European Union worldwide regarding data protection came up. We now have extended use of cloud infrastructures while working from home environments is put in the scenery due to COVID-19. And on top of this mess, you're trying to keep confidentiality up and running. So first, don't use templates. Templates are nice when you don't have a clue what to write. But think, if templates did the trick, why are they given out for free? Don't just put lawyers do it. Lawyers are more than important here. I'm not taking them out, but they should dress up our corporate mentality, not define it. Create a corporate environment that favors confidentiality and trust, and this same environment will protect the company data automatically. This can be achieved only if everyone is equal. I've seen many confidentiality and data protection agreements that were not signed by the owner or the board. Guess what? The effect was that nobody protected anything because the boss wasn't doing so. The US classification for information systems has three main classification levels: top secret, secret, and confidential. You have to explicitly define and give examples in the agreement of what you consider as top secret. A contract with a customer can be considered as top secret? No, unless it could kill the business. The same may apply with a certain supplier, that your connection with him should remain secret. You should provide basic guidelines such as information treatment guides. You should explicitly define how to use data regarding the business itself and the data related to persons. A good idea would be to appoint someone to do this on a regular basis. Don't forget to give examples. It really works. Not all people understand what you mean. I'll give you a small tip. A data protection policy that says no to this, no to that, has no chance of surviving. And if you have managed to have a friendly environment in your company, this could ruin it. Because people will ask you, why is that now? You don't trust us anymore? If you want to avoid this question, then you have to mix obligations with privileges. And here is where GDPR gives you a chance you will never have again. Why? Because GDPR indicates the need of protecting personal data. Personal data is not only your customers' personal data, but your employees' data as well. The question is how you put down a policy, especially on work environments that did not have one until now, and potentially have employees working in the organization for many years. You know this saying that the British have, after 2 or 3 years in the same position, you become local? So how do you manage the need of putting down cutting-edge policies while you have employees being on board for many years? Your organization has to make a shift, and only if you lead it, they will follow. Put the staff in your shoes, make them care once again. Change their perspective. They are data subjects as well. So if you respect their data, they will respect the companies and affiliates data as well. Respect employees' privacy. You can't just send around their marital status, age, or date of birth. You need to have their consent and explicitly define the scope of use or forwarding of their information to an external supplier or consultant, even if this is for their payment. If the status quo changes with an external supplier dealing with their personal data, then you need to let them know as soon as possible. For example, an accountant or a payroll service provider. Sign data agreements with all your suppliers. This proves you respect your employees' data by informing them who is dealing with their data. Now, on the other side of the coin, employees' obligations. Equipment ownership. Watch it with BYOD. You know, bring your own device policy. Putting a VPN client or installing any kind of application on a computer that does not belong to the organization should be avoided, as it could be treated as a threat to the employee's personal data. Putting VPN clients on outsourced employees? Really? This is definitely not a good practice, as this is a security threat itself. Whatever an employee sees or hears in his workplace should remain in-house, and no information should be given to any outside party. Email. That's a big issue. In 2021, there are far too many companies still dealing with info, sales, and whatever. How do you feel when you see a reply from info or sales? Personally, not very well. At first, I feel like the reply is from a bot. But let's leave aside the customer experience, which, as I mentioned, is personal. How does the employee feel when he sends out an email from that account? Even if he or she has his signature below, it's rather unlikely that he's engaged too much in the process. He thinks, I'm not putting my name on it. The next available agent will handle. No, you engage people. You make them responsible of their actions. And when you trust them, they trust you. I guess there's no point in saying how vulnerable a case like this is in court and how difficult it is to put the blame on a certain employee when they use a shared mail account. Bad practice. I personally avoid it, even if it costs more. Do let your people know that the information and technology resources provided by the company are monitored and logs are kept. There are cases lost in court where, upon a clear confidentiality breach in which internal information was provided to a competitor, the IT-related proof was not accepted by the court as the employee had not signed an agreement clearly stating that his system was monitored. And I have in mind another case lost as well, in which, despite the fact that IT monitoring was clearly stated, the employee had not accepted this term as he never signed it. So confidentiality agreements require a balance of, and it's a mutual trust between the organization and the employee or the partner. If you don't respect your employees' data, how do you expect them to respect the company's data? In addition, confidentiality does not stand on one document. It is a set of documents. I would prefer to call this a system of documents, where we treat them as subsystems cooperating with each other and form a complete system that works as a framework for confidentiality. Trust is a building, and you should carefully choose your bricks to build it right and make it steady and long-lasting. To my knowledge, there are not too many tools for monitoring confidentiality. The ISO 27000 family of standards is a good start, in which the basics can be put, such as information treatment and how to act under specific circumstances, put as procedures and guidelines to follow. The ISO IEC 27000 series, also known as the ISMS family of standards, or ISO 27K for short, comprises information security standards published jointly by the International Organization of Standardization, ISO, and the International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC. This series of norms provide best practices and recommendations on information security management, the management of information risks through information security controls within the context of an overall information security management system. This, we call it ISMS. The series is deliberately broad in scope, covering more than just privacy, confidentiality, and IT technical cybersecurity issues. It is applicable to organizations of all shapes and sizes. All organizations are encouraged to assess their information risks, then treat them, typically using information security controls, according to their needs. Given the dynamic nature of information risks and security, the ISMS concept incorporates continuous feedback and improvement activities to respond to changes in the threats, vulnerabilities, or impacts of incidents. Office 365, now known as Microsoft 365, incorporates the security and compliance centers that are tools you can also use if you're on board on Microsoft Cloud Services. The Office 365 Security and Compliance Center includes a variety of features and tools for data governance and protection. Those tools can help you detect, classify, and secure this sensitive info across locations like Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, and more. On the other hand, there are far too many guardians of confidentiality. Your IT, your data protection officer, your human resources and legal department, but more importantly, all of us that deal with our data daily. Billy Graham said that confidentiality is the essence of being trusted. In Creative People, we say that our team is not made by people who stick up for one another. Our team is made by people who trust each other. For last, I would like to introduce you to Jamal, our mascot, and tell you that he died defending confidentiality in our customers' networks. Thank you very much for your time.
In place of the previous girls to wrap up your talk. Thank you for the excellent speech. It was really interesting. Ioannis said that he has a question. So, Ioannis, please.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Maki, for the presentation. I was wondering, after all those details and after signing 1,000 confidentiality forms, how an employee or us as business owners, how tied up are we to those confidentiality agreements? I guess the employees and us ourselves, we are always liable to something. And in my opinion, in your opinion, in a practical point of view, how much anyone sticks to those confidentiality agreements? I mean, who does really know what he has signed up in those agreements?
Nice question. First of all, the most important thing is that no confidentiality agreement can stop an information leak. Okay? At any case, confidentiality agreements act like a reminder and as a precaution measure. When they are signed by both the company and the employee or partner, they can be of value when the case takes the legal route. If you have nothing documented, while you have the best security, you face the risk of losing the case, as the employee will say, I was not informed. In the opposite scenario, where you have everything put on documents, but you missed the security part, then who are you going to put the blame? On your people? This would be like shooting yourself in the foot. A corporate defense can't be based on just IT or just legal support. It needs a combination of both, and more than ever, this seems to be of high importance. They cannot defend you. You have to have everything. This is my opinion.
I can understand that, but I was wondering if any employee ever remembers what he has signed in those agreements, what he or she is allowed to do or not. I mean, the practical use in everyday life, not take it to court or anything, just the practical use of everyday life. We just sign up forms and we say, okay, I will do my best, and that's it. So we're all liable for something, right? I mean, I must be blocking something in my everyday business life at all times.
That's why for example, ISO 27001, you tag documents and you label documents of any kind. You put on a proposal on a PDF and you put confidential, like a stamp, and you remind this way that this is has a certain level of classification, protected in a way. It's a corporate mentality to have confidentiality. Only certain people can reach to certain information. Only certain people can read that information. So more or less is something you define at one point, you yearly or every 6 months re-update, and you remind it day by day by letting them know this is confidential, this is top secret.
Okay.
So
thank you. Clear enough. Thank you.